What up, Fabian? Welcome to the channel. If you could just give yourself, or just give a quick intro about yourself.
It's Fabian. I go by Lythar on Discord, and basically that's my hacker name, I guess. I'm a friend of Taddy. We studied together for the OSCP. And yeah, man, we just grinded it out, and things came to fruition, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll be doing this for a year and a half. During college, I do it on my free time.
Did you have any certifications before the OSCP?
Yeah, correct. So back in fall of 2021, I started doing Try Hack Me, and I after doing Try Hack Me and enrolling in the INE PTS course, I did the AJPT, and then right after I did TCM's course, and I got the ACP PT because I failed the APT, but and then after though, I got the OSCP.
Okay, yeah. So before you did the OSCP, had you been trying to find a job? Were you like applying for jobs, pen testing roles?
No, no, not at all, man.
Not at all.
It was, yeah, not at all. I was just studying on my own. I saw the OSCP as like the top of the tops just to get hired.
Okay, so like, what then made you? So is it the job requirements that made you take the OSCP?
Well, yeah, and as far as to wanting to challenge myself, just because I always saw it as a behemoth of like offensive security certifications. You know, it's a really hard certification, and I want to be the best that I can be, and that's where you gotta push yourself to where the hardest things are.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what was like, when did you start studying for the OACP? What was the journey like? What were your thoughts when you came to then take the exam? Just a quick overview of that.
Yeah, so I started studying right around March, and I took my exam in August. You know, throughout that journey, it was a really tough journey. I would say, you know, the labs you barely have any help. So it's all with you, and try to, build that individuality and that self-reliance, right?
Yeah,
That the labs build. Or you could have happily you can build some buddies, meet some people who are great, just like I met Taddy, and build connections from there, and people that can help you out. My thoughts during their exam, and I was like, oh I don't know if I can curse, but oh shit. It was a really hard exam. Really hard. I was about to like give up at some point. But like always the offset people would always tell you to try harder, and that's a mentality that's like kind of bittersweet, but there's some truth to it, right? During the exam, and doing everything in life, you have to try harder in order to achieve what you want. So yeah.
that is true. I almost gave up during the exam too. That exam is hard. People think it's easy, or I don't know what it is they think, but that exam is super difficult. Okay, so my next question would be, after the OSCP, did you feel like you had a chance of getting a job when you started applying?
Man, to be honest, I was really discouraged by the fact that, I mean, I'm 19 at this right now, right? So um I have no prior cybersecurity experience or cybersecurity experience, or anything at all. So it was really hard getting it. I got really discouraged because I would get disqualified from associate level positions for pen testing and even internships sometimes. And it was like really surprising, even though I had the OSCP. So yeah, it's a really tough journey right after the OSCP. You thinking that you will get the job. I mean, you could. That does happen, obviously,
Yeah.
but it takes time and effort to achieve that,
Okay.
and just resilience.
Yeah. For me, it was kind of weird as well because you'd apply to a position you can clearly tell that you might be overqualified, and then you get rejected, and it's usually sometimes an automated email, which means they probably don't even look at your stuff, right? So I think the more you just put yourself out there, the more you can probably then have more chances to land an interview, and then if you do well in your interview, move on and hopefully land a position. But what do you think about throwing resumes on there on like LinkedIn or whatever job platform as compared to networking, either on
Can you repeat
Twitter
that?
or LinkedIn? Do you
Wait,
think
can you repeat
it's
that again?
all right? Do you think it's better for people to like just throw their resumes or just throw out applications, or should they focus more on individuals or networking on LinkedIn, reaching out to recruiters, letting them know that they exist, etc.
Both, man. That's what I did. So, I spammed my resume around probably like I spread it around LinkedIn in every position that I saw, in every opening that I saw. And, I would also go out of my way to like talk to the recruiters, right? Like, if I saw a company, even if they weren't hiring, I would still send an email and be like on LinkedIn, I'm like, hey, can you I'm looking for a penetration testing position. I have this, and that. Let me know if you guys have any openings. And sometimes they did reach out to me, right? And they said, yeah, no, yes or no. And sometimes they say, yeah, I would like to have a call with you. And that's like one of the most important things one of the most important like aspects out of job hunting is the connections that you build along the way of people that you didn't know their stories before and how they could help you in the future.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many open doors I've had so far just because I reached out to them through LinkedIn and Indeed and or any place.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. People usually like talking about themselves. That's one thing about people. And so if you get out your way to make that connection, it will probably be easier for recruiters to remember you when something opens up if they're not hiring. And if they are hiring, they're probably going to keep you in mind. Another question I have was, do you have any tips for the OSCP to be specific? Either
Okay.
preparation or during exam day, what you should be doing, taking breaks, etc.
Oh man, my biggest advice for people who are pursuing the OSCP is to get your mental game up. I say that's where once I started looking at things as okay, let me try to rephrase that. So yeah, the mental game. How can you build this certain set of skills that like will wire your brain to think more critically, right? So if you find, let's say, a vulnerability, or let's say you have an open service, you start asking yourself questions, right? Right after, like, what can you do with this? Can you do modify something else in another service, right? And then the more you just practice a lot and just try to wire your brain to think critically, that will help you all along, just in the labs and the OSCP as well. And just take a note of everything. I suggest all people to start a blog or some sort of like somewhere to document their journey and truly reflect on the machines that they do and be like, okay, what did I learn from this? What was hard about it before? These questions truly will make you a better penetration tester. Will help you out build your own methodology along the way.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think the 90 days was enough lab time to get your practice in?
Well, for me, yeah. I have no worries in the world. I'm just a student. Some people don't have that privilege that I do. So, I focus there full time, and you know me, man. Like there were times where I would finish, oh, I'm a 90. No, not 90. I'm like a 60. Oh, the next day I was like a 65 out of 70. Like, you can tell that I put in like, a lot of grind and hours just throughout the days. Some people might not have it, but for me, it was more than enough just because I dedicated it like almost full time to just the OSCP.
Yeah. In case you don't understand what he means by I'm at 60, this guy did all the machines in the labs. All of them rooted, done. That's pretty insane. But I think I have two more questions left. One is RCP related, and then one is job hunting related. The first one would be, apart from the labs themselves, the ones you get from OffSec, what else did you use in your preparation that you think it helped a lot? Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, Proving Grounds, etc.
Uh, Proving Grounds and Hack the Box were the main sources that I used after the OSCP. So, I scheduled my exam. I think it was like even a month after I finished my lab time. And in that meantime, I can't tell you how much I learned from Proving Grounds. And after I finished all the TJ Knowles list of the Proving Ground machines, I went to Hack the Box and filled in those gaps in Active Directory. So I would recommend people. to before even enrolling in the PWK, go through the Hack the Box TJ know this just so you can start building a methodology. And then once you get to the labs, you already know something. So it's like kind of repetitive without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best. Those are the best two resources that I would recommend people.
Yeah. Well, we both started our lab time around the same time. I think I started like 2 days before you. I'm not really sure anymore. But once we finished our lab time, you were doing Proving Grounds. I was on Hack the Box, and then when I was on Proving Grounds, you were on Hack the Box. So he has a really good list of machines on Proving Grounds. You could do both Linux and Windows. So when I started doing Proving Grounds, I was literally just using the machines he did, just so I can move quicker and not have to wonder which machines I did. So I'll leave a link to his blog in the description below for those machines if you want to look at them. But the last question I have for you, my brother, it would be job hunting tips. Like after the OSCP, what can you do in interviews? What should you read up on? What are the things you could focus on in terms of preparing for interviews?
So my biggest tip, to job hunting, and I don't know if you know Neil Bridges. I even
Yeah.
texted him on Instagram. I'm like, hey, like, I've been getting rejected from positions, and there's this thing he said. He's like, the biggest thing that I tell people is to have as much persistence as possible when job hunting, and that's my biggest advice. Don't give up. Just at the brink of when you think you're not gonna get hired, like you get hired. That's what happened to me. I didn't think I was gonna get hired. I'm like, yeah. 2 days later, I get an offer, right? So that's one of the biggest advices in terms of job hunting. Just put yourself out there as much as you can. Call like just like in your little where you are located. Just be like on Google, hey, what's the nearest cybersecurity consulting company? Give them a call. Like you never know who you might meet and who they can refer you to. So yeah,
That's
probably find
pretty
that
sweet, bro.
sidetracked.
That is pretty
Yeah.
sweet. You mentioned consulting companies. That's one thing I didn't mention in myself is that focus on have a list of the big companies you want to work at, the Googles, the Facebooks, etc. I think everyone might have some desire to work at those places. And then, but don't forget to list out smaller consulting companies because those guys are usually hiring a lot. They're trying to build out their teams, and it's usually a lot easier to interact with the security engineers or whatever engineers they have there, and then they could probably refer you and you could probably get in quicker than you would at Facebook or something because you would contribute a lot more either way to a smaller company, and you can see how well you're doing and how your contribution grows as compared to a bigger firm or whatever. But Fabian, thanks for being
Wait,
here.
actually.
Sorry.
I have another advice actually.
Yeah, yeah.
I was talking to this recruiter in terms of interviews. In terms of when you're interviewing with people, try to treat the interviewer like they're your best friend's dad. That's one of the biggest advices that I've also heard,
You
and it
said
helped
best
me out
friend's
a lot.
dad.
Yeah, like it takes the pressure off of you. Like sometimes even like the interviewers like curse at you, and they just like, oh, how do I say? They just treat themselves really casual. So try to keep it as casual and as professional as possible, so that they
Yeah,
also don't think that you're a robot. And just as long as you learn everything, throughout this journey, you truly put effort into learning what these different sort of attacks are. By the time you get to the interview, like the questions that they will ask you, even though I think you should also read over your notes, it'll be pretty easy.
yeah, for sure, for sure. But thanks again for being here. I'll put links for you in the description below if you guys want to check out his LinkedIn, his blog, whatever he has on there. I'll leave a link in the description. Like I said, guys, be on your journey, join discords, make friends. I met this guy a few months ago, but we're pretty cool friends now. We both passed the USCP on the same time. We are both getting hired around the same time, which is pretty insane. So just make friends, interact with people, have fun with the community. It's a journey, it's not a sprint. But that is it for me, Fabian. If you have any last words,
Man, just like you said, try harder, and that's it. It
try
really is
harder.
about that sometimes. Yeah.
Try harder. One last quick question: what's gonna be your next certification from OffSec or just in general?
So I'm now pursuing the CRTO. I just want to get some Cobalt Strike experience, and my company is actually they have their own Cobalt Strike license, so which is gonna be fun. And then I'll get the OSE three, so the three main OSCD, OSW, and OSEP.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
it.
For sure. I'm probably going to be working on the OSWE because I'm going to be focused on web and cloud stuff at work. But that's it, bro. Thanks for being here. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.